Hello and welcome to EW's Awardist Emmy series. I am Joey Nolfi, and today we come to you from the Kerri Colby Cinematic Universe, yes, where we have assembled the Avengers of Drag, aka the largest cast of trans contestants ever to compete on RuPaul's Drag Race, here to discuss why season 14 was, no offense, to other shows, one of the most exciting Emmy-worthy TV events of 2022. Please welcome Miss Congeniality, Cornbread the Snack Jeté, Kerri Thanos Colby.
Not the government name.
A government name, honey.
Jasmine Kennedy. Bosco.
Yeah.
And our season 14 winner, Miss Willow Pill. Thank you all so much for being here. You all look lovely.
Wow.
And as the internet has spoken, we really do owe everything to Kerri, don't we?
We do.
Yes. Sometimes.
I was gonna say, I don't know if I'll take everything,
If
but...
I die, she has a stake in my life insurance claim, essentially. So that's how we treat it.
No, I was about to ask you about that. I'm glad we got that confirmed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have it recorded on
Yes,
camera?
it's on
Yes.
live.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah, perfect.
Yep.
Now we know Kerri is Thanos, but I need to know, in the KCU, who is everybody else? Which character is everybody else?
Did someone do a
Pick
fan of us?
your
I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you like I know what this stuff is. You know what That's not even my expertise.
Wrong flavor
honey.
of gay.
Yeah.
I would say I'm Captain America. Or Mrs. or Captain, is it, what's her name, America?
But also, I
Wonder
don't know.
Woman. Wonder Woman. Mrs. America.
That is a whole different genre, honey.
DC,
You are
Marvel.
mixing DC and Marvel.
What's the one, what's the girl that,
You're Captain Marvel.
that, thank you.
Her.
The short hair.
Brie Larson.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Brie
The
Larson.
spicy one.
I feel like
honey.
Ivan Ooze.
Ivan Ooze
Yeah.
from Power Rangers.
They should be there. Ivan Ooze.
Oh my God.
Anything goes in the KCU, apparently. Now, on a more serious note, we have had trans queens on Drag Race before, but it was great to see, I think, the fandom and the show really engage with season 14's trans contestants and storylines in such a big way this season. From the Kerri memes to all of your individual stories and coming out, some on the show, some not. How do you think season 14 impacted the legacy of what it means to be represented as trans on RuPaul's Drag Race?
I'm gonna take it.
I'll take it.
Do it.
I love taking.
Give him the top.
You're a top Kerri. We talk about this all the time.
I'm a versatile opportunist.
We're neighbors, Kerri.
True. You know, I just feel like this is a staple of, I think, what the legacy is going to continue to be. They made the decision to authentically, from the jump, let a trans person, trans woman, we already had our trans masculine moment, and they let me and Cornbread in the door, and we were able to, you know, not have to have that, like, is this a comfortable moment? Should I do this? Is it more comfortable? It's more like, no, you're a woman, be a woman, show woman, give woman. And I think that it really spoke to when you allow someone to be authentic in a space and you give them the opportunity to share their story and connect with their sisters, you never know what really can happen. It is just infectious. And I know infectious is a little bit of a sensitive topic. We're 2022, only 2 years out. But, you know, it really does. It spreads like wildfire because honesty is just the most beautiful, liberating way to be.
I always say they give us, like, Drag Race gave us our outlet, you know, for us to be on a platform as drag artists. But I do give credit 100% to the cast for the inclusivity that happened on Drag Race. If that makes sense. We got cast on Drag Race for our drag. The one that openly got cast as a trans woman on Drag Race was Kerri. I came out after we finished filming Drag Race, even though I started transitioning before Drag Race. These three came out on the show as well as after the show. Drag Race would not have this many trans representation people sitting on this couch if it wasn't for the people sitting here. They give us the outlet for everything. They've done so much for us. They back us up on it. They support us in it. But at the same time, they tend to have to go to these people before anybody else because they did it, you know? And it was the stories and the braveness of everybody after the season or during the season. So yeah, kudos to these motherfuckers.
It's very like
they'll give an inch and we're gonna take a mile.
Yeah.
Period.
RuPaul was like, I said 1.
And we said 15.
Fantastic five, nigga, fantastic five.
Honestly, before the next season airs, y'all, be about 15 billion of them. Hello.
Oh, honestly,
Season
all
14 is all trans. Yeah.
It's actually mandatory next year. We haven't talked about this yet, but you have to be on hormones in order to get cast.
At least 4 of them have to be 3
I don't
months
make
on
the rules.
HRT.
If you said X chocolate on Drag Race, you're trans.
Oh yeah,
Hands down.
That's right.
My God. Yeah, just name them up. Just
name 'em up.
1, 2, 3, 4. Thank you.
I never said it's chocolate. No, I'm kidding.
I know we're doing this right because my ears are already ringing. I know we're doing this very right. Now, I do think it was also, like you're saying, it was significant. Cornbread, Jasmine, Bosco, and Willow, you each had sort of public coming out moments, you know, that sort of breathed in their own right. You each had your time to shine. So, did you all coordinate this sort of coming out? I hate to call it like a schedule, but
Oh, there was a little bit of a schedule, wasn't there?
Week after week, honey.
It was weekly, but I don't think any of us kind of like said, oh, are you going to be talking about it this week or is this going to happen this week? I think everybody just kind of went with it at their own pace. And I think everybody was just waiting in their own way to speak about it and not necessarily like do it as a group, because we all are talking about like, you know, our trans sister and things like that, but our stories are a little different and individualized. So I think it was really nice how it all panned out individually, like literally week by week by week was me, Willow, and Bosco.
Whatever her name is. And the other one.
The other one, thank you, Dax. Yeah.
Oh my God.
But
I didn't win. It's
got
fine.
to do it.
Don't worry about it.
It's okay. You sent me home. It's okay. You sent me home. But yeah, I think it was nice that we all had our little moment to tell it from our own story, but also connect our stories at the same time and for the audience to see it.
So there was no like nobody was like talking to each other and saying, okay, well you can go this time, you can get just to, like sort of give each other
You
space.
can slide A,
you can slide A, B, and C.
TS. Yeah, no.
We all kind of went rogue, and I
Literally.
Well, the way that producers would be calling us, I feel like you're all lying to us right now.
No,
we wouldn't be like
literally.
running it past them before. Just like I feel like this is like a season where like the girls really claimed their own narratives on their own terms. There was like certain parts where obviously like it's a reality television show, it's television, so there has to be certain amounts of like production, fabrication, and judging. But we really all personally just took on our own narratives and really got to play our own part in our own stories.
I told Carrie I was going to do it during the when they put the pictures up, because I just knew I was going to make it there. When they put the pictures up, that was going to be my moment, because I wanted to get through Drag Race without having that be any part of what was happening to me. I wanted to go there and show my style of drag, because my style of drag is not necessarily what I want to present in my transness in my life. Now they're just like meshing into one girl. I dress like this on a regular. So I was gonna wait for the picture, and I was gonna be like, you know what, I enjoyed it, and I just want to tell that kid, like, now's your moment. It's because I wanted to live my authentic dream as a drag queen on the show. And then when I was talking to that picture, I was gonna be like, you know what, this is my moment to express to people, drag is what you do, it's not who you are, if that makes any sense. And I wanted my whole entire trajectory to be that. My ankle and RuPaul had other plans. But she was one of the people who like made me do it after I got off the show. RuPaul sat on the stage. I think we were all there. And she's like, I was like crying on the episode of the JLo episode. And she was like, there's something like in you that you need there's some stuff you need to let go. And I was like, damn, RuPaul girl, you must be seeing that, girl, because clearly I was walking around the workroom with these titties out. So I think they knew. But she was just telling me that, and then my ankle did it.
What?
I was gonna wait to do it, but I got home and I ended up doing that. And I think I talked to Willow. We were talking to Willow. Somebody was like, oh, Willow, blah blah blah. I was like, child, Willow's a trans woman. She goes, no, yeah. I was like, and so I was like, this is a whole woman here, and then like everything like took place. I was like, this is gagging.
So, oh, sorry.
You could no, go ahead, Jasmine.
So, I'm sorry. Well, I was just gonna say, so there were like conversations that were sort of happening with everybody, even if it wasn't on camera, and that's how the sisterhood sort of formed.
Yeah, we all talk to each
Lobster
other.
and I talked about it almost every day on set. I think when the mics were on.
Right, in the hot tub at the hotel. We're like, I don't know if I want to give them all this quite
It's
yet.
always a hot tub conversation, honey. It gets bubbly, honey.
Remember that one time you called me, you asked me a question on the first episode, and then
Oh, yeah.
my mic somehow was
I was
mysteriously
like doing
off.
like the Seattle greeting of like everybody's zodiac sign and pronouns, please. I'm not ready to talk about that. I'm like, well, we're not going to talk about that right now.
Cornbread, you want to say that again? Your mic was off. I was like, nope.
But with Carrie and my conversation before, Bosco was actually on the other side of the room, and she actually was kind of in the conversation when we were talking, like working on it's actually the Glamazon Prime outfit I was working on. And I remember making that god-awful hat, and like talking to Carrie, breaking down to her, like, I think I'm trans, I just want to like be like a pretty girl, things like that. And then like Bosco's like, are we saying it on the show or no? Like, what's the vibe? And I was like, what's the vibe? Do not bring it up at all next episode I come out. And she was like, I thought we were doing this, Jasmine. What's going on? And it's like, But yeah, that was probably the only conversation I had off camera on set about
It was the only conversation you had off camera, too.
The only one, honey.
Every time they put me on their shit. Oh my god. Okay.
So Bosco was also the whisperer in some ways.
Oh yeah, I'm like, I was like the voice of Carrie, like
for sure.
Yeah, she was like.
I feel like she was just
sitting
on ready. She was like, "Who's gonna say they trans?" Because I'm just like, diving in, honey. She's ready to dive, child.
Bosco is just from Seattle. That's just for they ask you about gender.
It's in the coffee, honey.
It's in the rain. The rain in the coffee.
Well, I did interview most of you throughout this whole process, and you did, particularly you, Jasmine, you did cite Carrie very strongly as somebody who played a big role for this. Cornbread, you also told me that you don't consider Carrie to be your drag mom, but she is your trans mother.
Right,
so I'm just wondering the sort of distinction there in how you sort of see Carrie as this guiding force in this process.
I mean, for me specifically, I do have a drag mother who also is trans, so I definitely have her statement is first. You know, she's always my forever. But Carrie, whenever I met her, there was something about her, regardless of what you were doing, things like that. She always made you feel uplifted and like as beautiful and as confident as you want to be, regardless of the state I was at my transition. Like when I first started my HRT, she's like, "Baby, you're looking great," things like that. Each day and things like that, she'll like check in on you and just like give you the confidence that like, you know, not everyone else is giving you those compliments and things like that, but she's giving you the time and energy to give you that, and it's something, she's not asking for anything back, but she's doing it out of the kindness of her heart.
I stay watching. I feel like for me what I do, and I've always been this way, I like to try to be that person that I kind of wish I had, because I probably would have come out and transitioned a lot sooner if I felt like I had more support. And not so much just like the do it. I don't care how you do it, but like more like the, you know, you're looking beautiful today. Are you making a decision or how are you feeling? You know what, I can see that you made that decision to, you know, not wear padding and to do something different with your makeup. I noticed that and I'm like, girl, and you look the fuck good because, well, sorry, I don't know if we allowed to. My bad.
Have you seen Joey's Twitter? Joey's Twitter.
The messiest Twitter on Twitter.
The messiest Twitter you've ever seen in your life.
It is a bit chaotic.
Big honor. Oh, thank you so much. Yeah,
she's the most viral run on this couch.
Girl, she got more followers than us.
Yeah, it's those little things that, like, you know, no one really thinks about besides ourselves. Like, maybe I'm gonna go with a different lash shape. Will people notice? And I do tend to notice those things, especially if I notice that it's bringing out the feminine in somebody. And if I know that's where you are and what you're looking and where you're going, I'm like, oh, I see it. Keep doing it. You're doing the right thing and you're finding yourself. And I think I've seen that through all of you ladies. I have seen so much growth, not just in drag, not just in makeup and aesthetic, but in energy and personality and honing and harnessing what I've seen was there from day one, and I've seen it just blossom and grow and turn into such a beautiful flower, and each one of y'all are just such unique like creations, and I'm just like, I just can't believe I get to see this. So of course I gotta let y'all know, honey.
It was, I think, with Jasmine, we have similar stories. My drag mom is also trans as well, and like one of my best friends, and we talked about our whole like trans journeys prior. She was like, do you ever feel like we just literally were randomly sitting down and talking about how do we feel as a person, like how do we want to maneuver through life, and we both discussed our whole trans moment. She started transitioning before me. I was nowhere near ready. Like I was giving you like goatee, you know, porn stash moment.
Still me on a Thursday because I feel
trade, honey.
If I show you my old picture, baby, don't even know like this. And then, so Carrie and I met randomly at a club. I tell the story all the time, and then we became really good friends from there, very close. I have a firm believer that there's mothers in multiple ways. My drag mom is my trans mother as well. I do believe Carrie plays a part in that whole entire trans mother thing as well. For the sense of, it was more so on the guidance of, you've been doing this. I have not been doing this. I know what I want. Let me just go ahead and like push forward. So Carrie got me through a lot. I'm Carrie's counselor. Carrie's my counselor. I'm pretty sure I'm more of Carrie's counselor than she is on a daily basis.
Yes.
But it's like the whole like trans, and even for like me and Bosco, our relationship got stronger after the show because we're both competitive people and we just want to like throw marbles on the floor each other at the competition. But
I didn't have to.
we didn't have to. Yeah, everybody did my stuff. It was duck tag. But her and I talked so much more after the show and about like transitioning, just like living lives and like moments that we have. So you learn lessons from each one of these people. Willow is literally the reason why like now like when I went on Drag Race, my whole purpose was like, okay, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna win. And I was listening to everyone else, meeting Willow and talking to Willow there on the show. I was like, bitch, I'm gonna do what the fuck I want to on this show. And that's what inspired my drag after the show. Like, you know what, do what you want to do as Cornbread when you leave. Same with Jasmine. I called Jasmine when we were at a gig. I was at a gig in South Carolina.
Yes.
And there was this person who reminded me of Jasmine. It was just like, and I was patient and I calmed myself and I talked to him. I said, Jasmine, I met someone just like you today. And I said, and you taught me a lesson to know how to interact with people. So I felt like there's little mothers in each spot of the people here. Carrie just the one, you know.
Who's the most
push the tits.
level-headed?
Not push the tits.
She's done it to me too.
Very much.
She's like, come here.
Yes.
Gathers the girls.
Gather them all.
Honey.
Everybody on this couch is insane.
And your relationship with Willow was so strong that you actually, the tattoo, the infamous tattoo, I mean, I love that. Have you gotten the cornbread tattoo yet?
She's not allowed.
No?
Why not?
Not allowed.
She's saving herself.
What this is was what? No?
I mean, I'll just get a broken ankle on that.
She literally keeps saying that, and I believe it.
Oh my god.
No, but it was one of the. My tattoo wasn't like necessarily like, oh, let's get matching tattoos.
Yeah.
Like I fucking live for the. It's literally moments and pieces. I keep telling everybody, I have so many tattoos that I'm getting like of season 14 like representation that no one knows. Well, it's just the first one because it's like the strongest relationship that I had out of everyone. But we talked about I'm getting a Divine tattoo on my leg, and Divine's gonna have Bosco's eyebrows. So it's like little hit moments like that.
Oh my God, that's so adorable.
Yeah, so it's like little moments like that I'm gonna go through. It's just Willow's moment and not on the show just shifted my life in like a completely different way. It's more so do what the fuck you want to, or do what you want to and not ask for any excuses behind it. And I think that bond just became something way more you know, it was like smack a tattoo on your leg. It wasn't getting permission from her and say, let's get matching ones. I just like, hey, bitch, I'm going to do this. She's like, no, you're not. I'm like, yeah, I did. And I got it. And here it is. So.
Well, Willow, you did tell me also in our interview that we did after you came out publicly that you had sort of been out in smaller circles for a while before. So I'm wondering, and you had some really interesting things to say about the fluidity of gender and how it's constantly a cycle of just learning every day. So I'm wondering how the experience of being on the show influenced that journey for you, because it was a very complex one. I know that you told me.
Yeah, you know, it's weird. I'm sure some of the girls here can attest to this. It's very bizarre to watch yourself on screen. And watching myself was part of the reason that I was like, oh, I think I'm more trans than I thought. Because I was really not liking what I was seeing. And it was beyond just, like, not feeling confident in how I looked. It was like, oh, I hate that I look like a boy. Yeah. Right now. Well, semi. I've always been sort of an androgynous orphan look. But I just couldn't watch it. And it's hard to watch it now still. And I was like, oh, if it bothers me this much, and if looking in the mirror every day bothers me this much, I've got to do something to change it, because that just sets your day up for failure already if you're looking in the mirror and you're just like, ugh, why? And so I was like, I've got to do something, and I've got money now. So.
And you have a lot of love and support, so I hope that is you feel that for sure.
And I started getting some surgery and some procedures, and that just felt so right. And I was like, well, if it feels right, then I'm just gonna keep going this way.
She is snatched.
Okay, handled.
And and it just keep going in the direction that feels good, and it still feels good. So keep doing it.
No, I love that. Now we are discussing all of this in a political landscape that feels like it is regressing in a lot of ways. You know, there's threat of banning children from drag shows. There's ongoing debate about trans rights in sports. So even though we went from winning, or from Kylie winning All-Star 6 to the largest cast ever of trans queens to be on Drag Race, how important is representation on this stage, even though society and politics in the quote-unquote real world do feel like they are regressing on a macro level?
No, go ahead, you go.
I think there's been a lot of things in the last year and a half that has been clearly going back, even probably before 2016, I would say, before Voldemort got elected, and and essentially what we've been seeing is these red states kind of using their in-state power that they have and kind of taking away all the local abilities, and instead of, I mean, Joe just signed an executive order to stop some of it.
First name basis.
Right, right. He gets a first name. But there are still things that we can do in government and things like that are not helping us right now. And the fact that we're so regressive in a time that we have so much trans, coverage on the media and actually having a seat at the table, and the fact that government wants to make a decision about if your kids can play sports together, or if you have to have children's privates checked to play a sport. We've gone such to a place, almost, if you really do look at this, I don't care that I'm saying this, it is going almost to a anarchy, totalitarianism effect where we have no control in what we say anymore, and it's getting really scary.
When you have a point of view, you speak so eloquently.
Thank you. Well, politics
I'm shocked that I'm saying that, but I was really enjoying listening to you speak about that.
Politics is my favorite thing to talk about. It's the one thing that I paid attention to. Thank you. It's the one thing I paid attention to out of college when I dropped out was politics. Because I gotta stay in the current events.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead.
Come on, Jay.
I do think with the platform and visibility increasing, so does the target on our back. I do think all of these arguments against and all of these different talking points, they're just recycled. They've reused the same exact talking points against a minority group every single decade or so. They just change it, and I feel after a certain tipping point of trans visibility, they're oh, they're the most vulnerable now. They're the ones that we can distract people with, because it's all a distraction. They're just using us as their weird talking point to distract people from from what they're really doing. They're just using social issues to distract poor people from what they're doing fiscally.
We're what their sponsors don't want. The people that pay their campaigns don't.
We're the scapegoat, and it's just disgusting and it's crazy. But I do think us being on television, making our way into everyone's living room every single week, has power to it.
Yes.
And I can speak for all of us. The amount of people that you get to meet on a daily basis that will just come up to you and be my child is trans, I'm trans. Yeah. People will burst into tears just being able to see somebody who represents who they are and their demographic on television. And I didn't have that growing up. So it's very, very cool that we get to provide that, but it does come with that weird ebb and flow of visibility, target on the back.
Yep.
Y'all make me so happy just listening to y'all.
I love it.
No, I'm just over here cheesing like a kid again. Oh my God, y'all sound so great. I think representation has changed in the direction of the people that are the representation. Prior to this, it was okay, we belong in the room. We want to show you that we can be normal too. Now representation has become so much of, girl, we're here and you about to be mad at it because we're going to do what we want to and how we want to. And I think that's my favorite part about it. There cannot be a more rainbow effect of different styles of trans people on this couch right now. And everybody is so different in the most extreme ways. It makes no sense. I'm obsessed with it. And it's one of those things where it's now it's not okay, I have to be this way. And I have to make you think that I am a woman. And I have to make you think that this is how women act. It's no, girl, I am trans in my own truth of how my trans is going to be. And it's going to be extreme. It's a different way of it. So I'm really enjoying the route that it's taken for people who are representation. Not just trans people, but people of color. I'm baby, I'm going to give you my Latin, my heritage, If I'm black, I'm going to be as black as possible. You're going to get it. I'm not going to try to shape myself for what I want to be. And that's what I'm enjoying about representation just across the board. Girl, give your authentic self. So, instead of authenticity is the key, hands down.
I mean, and what I feel yes, the cast of season 14 great for representation, but in what ways do you think everyone watching the show can sort of make sure that positive change continues to happen in their lives? Because I mean, there's a difference in watching a show, seeing representation, internalizing that, and then where does it go from there, do you think, for people watching at home?
I mean, personally, at all my shows I do when I have people, because they like to get riled up, they like to see the fantasy, they like to see what we do. We're very entertaining, we're very, we are drag queens, but we're something, different, something beautiful, something captivating, something enthralling. So I tell them, in the minute of them being all hyped up, like, how y'all feeling? They're always like, yeah. And my next comment always is, okay, so every single person in this room, because there's a good amount of people there. I'm like, y'all see this, y'all feel this is love. But the love does not just end in the bar. It doesn't just end at the venue. It doesn't just end at the show where you see a girl give you a moment of performance. If you support and you love and you like and you enjoy what's going on and you want people to be able to continue to do that safely, and there's a lot of places at stake right now, more than ever, where they're trying to do these little things that no one notices if you're not paying attention in the polls, if you're not paying attention in legislation, if you're not paying attention. And it comes from a lot of different places. You really have to pay attention to, your groups of people that you love, yourself and your family and your people around you. And I say, if this is what matters to you and this is what you love and this is what you're giving your money, your time, your energy to, I need to see this exact same energy at the polls, because you cannot just go to a show, yes, we might perform, but we are not just Beyonce. You don't just come and see oh yeah, Beyonce, well, whatever Beyonce did, that was great, now I'm leaving, going home. You need to be impacted, affected, and take that and put your money where your mouth is, put your heart where your mouth is, put your vote where your mouth is, and look for opportunities where, if you see that you can help make a positive impact. It is a splash and a puddle in a very big ocean, but ripples happen and tsunamis happen because of these things. Okay. And it's very, very important more now than ever, because, a lot of times we will go to states, like I've been to a few red states recently, and you can just almost feel the desperation amongst the people that we go to see. And people are very, very emotional, crying, almost shaking. And it's not necessarily who you are, it's about the fact that, I went to Lubbock recently. There's a lot of things going on over in Lubbock. And then there's a lot of people that, being queer is almost a personal attack, like we were saying, target on your back every day, and these are the targets that feel like they are just walking to a gas station, walking to a library, walking to school. They really are potentially just getting completely in danger's way. So when they see us, it almost is a lifeline, it's a beacon of hope, and I'm like, we got to keep that alive, because you should not feel like walking out of your house and living is a privilege and you're lucky to get home without potentially being followed or being attacked or all this crazy stuff. And I'm glad that we're able to use our platforms to not only bring awareness, but to kind of rile people up, because people love to get excited, but they just let that excitement die because all they wanted was to be entertained. And I feel like we, especially being the panel that we are right now, we represent so much more than booties and titties shaking and good music and a great performance that you tip when you see it. We represent a future, and we represent the right to exist and not just be known as the artist and the individual and this outlandish person, but we represent an entire group of people that deserve to live and live comfortably.
Amen.
So what I just heard was a State of the Union address from Harry Colby 2024. When does the campaign start?
Speech.
I do. Miss Tranos be Tranos, and I don't know what to say.
Tranos be Tranos.
She's ready for the presidency.
The presidency! Honey!
It's your whole damn political team right here.
Welcome to the House of Trans
Are we the House
Representatives.
Speaker? I'm going to speak it.
You did attempt to get a House Speaker.
I could cut that Rediker off real quick.
Before we get into the fun stuff on season 14, I just want to know, what would you like to see next step going forward for trans contestants on Drag Race? And do you think season 14 sort of paved the way for that change to happen?
I don't think we've paved the way. I think there's been every season that anybody has represented himself has slightly put a little. We just built the road. So there's a road that is already being built. There's a bridge that is already being built. We just added another piece to it. You know, it takes more than just one person slapping a bridge together. You know, it takes somebody designing it. It takes someone putting the bolts and the screws and someone actually building it. There's a team process. There's this thing going around that everybody always talking about some doors opening. It's one of my favorite things. Jasmine cracks me up with it all the time. Doors open. I don't think it's one of those things where this season 14 did not open the doors for anybody. No, you know, we just had Gia. Nobody but Gia. Gia built this bridge on her own. But it's definitely one of those moments to where, like, if there's a door that needs to be opened, season 14, just put the welcome mat on the ground. Somebody else is going to twist the knob and keep it going in that sense. I just want Drag Race to continue to go, but I don't want it to be a shocking headline that there's trans contestants on there. That should not be the headline. No. You know, the headline should be something shocking like there's a straight man on Drag Race. Yeah. You know, now there's like 5 straight women on Drag Race. But that shouldn't be the shocking thing. You know, it's such a thing to where it's become, I think, in the public's eye, pushing this more than anyone, that there are 2 black people on there and there are 2 Latin people and there's like 1 Asian representation and then there's blah 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 blah. And I hate the thing of, oh, we haven't had a trans winner yet. Oh, we haven't had a plus size winner yet. Or we haven't this. It's take that out of it. And I think in order to make this normal and to make this a normal thing, stop pushing that to the front of it, you know? Let us go on there as trans contestants and kick ass. Let me go on there as a fat contestant, and I can stay fat because I am that. Let me go on there as a fat contestant and kick ass. Not necessarily making being trans the headline. It should be normal. If we want things to be normal, stop making it such a not normal thing from here on out.
I'd love to get to a place where trans people on the show and in any media representation
it's just
no longer have to be educators. Because it's exhausting stuff to do. And it's kind of a burden that is
kind of placed
placed on unwillingly. So it'd be great to just get to a place where trans people can be other things and other parts of themselves besides
educated.
We also don't have all the answers either. Like,
for sure. But we're educated
how to do this, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like and everyone's individual truth has to be found in their own. You only can do so much to, you know, give them the like, this is the way, you know. But,
I think the only way that this is gonna work is if we have a season where everybody is either trans or forced to transition on the show, and that is the equity that I am looking for.
And
if you are not on hormone, we've talked about this earlier. I'm gonna talk about it again because I am plugging for the full all trans season 17 cast.
I'd be down for that.
I think that's the only way to make sure that like we don't care anymore.
Team
it's like,
TS All Stars. Just get it out their system.
Just get them all No, but it's the whole educated thing. We're educated more than heterosexuals too. We're actually educating people in this community too, because homos, y'all need to learn too. It's not just the heteros or the ones who got a little taste of the piece and now they acting crazy.
The gays are famously not.
It's more than just that. But I'm gonna leave that.
Sometimes I feel like it is our own people in our alphabet mafia that sometimes turn the biggest back on us, and that's the biggest slap in the face that we could have, because we all are a community and we do need
no
the
shade,
support.
we taught them too.
Yeah.
A
lot of what they do came from the dolls. You know?
All the Zoroastrians.
I don't know if any of you guys have noticed this, but like once you started transitioning, I've noticed a shift in my friend groups in terms of like the gays I used to hang out with before to the gays I hang out with, or the queer people that I hang out with now, because like I shifted into like my own being, and like I may have been fitting their mold in the beginning, but like now I don't like fit that mold. I'm like, mama, you missing all this to hang out with it, but that's cool. So it's very interesting to see when you're doing things on your own path, how the community also can flip a switch.
Joe, you just need to schedule a panel to where we have like these kinds of discussions, because I feel this would be great. We're gonna talk. This would be good. This is a good little sit down. We'll fuck you.
There should be, you know, a weekly, monthly check-in.
I don't want to hang out with you weekly. Let's do at least twice a year. I cannot hang out with you.
Twice a year?
Yeah, I can't see y'all.
Biannually.
Oh my God.
Well, this is going to be the press conferences when it's the Carrie Colby presidency.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
I can't be a part of it, because if they search my record, oh no, baby. If they look on my record, it's a wrap. Carrie getting kicked out of the house before she was off.
I'm getting kicked out of the house before they even allow me to campaign.
Hello, baby. Do not look up that alt Twitter.
Not the alt Twitter.
Twitter again.
Oh my God.
It's better.
Well, Cornbread, you beat me to it. I was going to start talking about Maddie.
All Twitters?
What? Not all Twitters. Maddie, I know you wish Maddie had an all Twitter because.
So I'll just text them.
That's true. You did fall in love on this season, so I want to hear a little bit about that. Are the wedding plans in the works? Like,
it's crazy because I was, me and Maddie, fell in love in my head on the show, and then I met his girlfriend, and honestly, I'm just gonna leave Maddie for her. She's my favorite. She's like the greatest human person. Recently. It's like sickening. So they stayed at my house like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Because Mad's like, I want to come to LA perform. So I was like, okay, cool. So I was like, I can talk to some people for you. I was like, I want her to perform too. So I ended up getting her some stuff and like pushing her to the right people. And they just stayed at my house and I was like, Maddie, y'all go do what you want to do. Me and her, we got our nails done together. We kiki and like have fun. I take people's spouses and like relationships. But I can tell you now, we're at the club together and I took her.
I have to keep my boyfriend at home.
Yeah.
Yes. He doesn't get to come on the road anymore after I saw what she was
everybody's
doing with
partner.
him.
It's my favorite. I literally snatched. We were all in the club together. It was Bosco and Manny and I. We're just sitting there, and I just took their partners and ran off.
Because you got the tea.
We should be kicking it. We
Just me and Maddie sitting there like, yo.
Yeah, and I'm just like, time to go. But his girlfriend is definitely my favorite. She's obsessed with her.
I am so I had this whole fantasy in my head of Cornbread and Maddie, and now
we're still gonna be together, but I'm only
getting
getting with him just to get to his girlfriend.
Okay.
There's layers.
It's a throuple. There's a winding path.
I'm all about a good throuple, honey.
She's gorgeous.
You find you a good
She's
partner or
great.
somebody, you just snatch up and lick them both.
Experience.
Yeah. We've seen y'all make that videos, but no, it's one of those things where
Who hasn't Carrie made out with?
me.
I just been up with your titties.
Always. But it's one of those things though. I always snatch people's partners away because like my drag mom had like a lot of notability or notoriety, whatever you call that word, before I was like a drag queen or like popular. And I know how I felt for people to like walk in the middle of me and her talking and turn it back to me to have a conversation with her. And I know how hard it is for us to be in the club. We cannot deny the people that walk up to us because it becomes such a thing. However, Cornbread is known for like, girl, listen, I'm gonna keep it to you real. Give me a moment. I'm talking to somebody while they're enjoying themselves. I take partners away and I go enjoy. I have conversations with them and to make sure they're like in the mix of it all too, because I know we all have a duty. We're in the club. I live in LA. They all know me. Duty. They all know me in LA. They don't know the people that just show up. So I snatch them away. Let's go have fun. Let's go take shots and kiki. So I feel it's my civic duty.
Because the real unspoken heroes.
For sure. No, that's legit my thing.
Really good at it.
I think the real unspoken heroes of like a lot of us are kind of our partners, at least like for me and you. I know like they are the ones that are like making sure this is happening 24/7 on the back end. From
My partner does not do any of that.
Baby,
My boyfriend watches the animals.
And that's all he needs to do.
Absolutely.
But they take care of all the stuff that we can't necessarily take care of as we used to, and that is always something. Like me and my boyfriend have a conversation about this all the time where, he feels invited in the club and things like that. But when it comes to like recognizing him and like respecting him, he's never had the same amount unless I'm with him. So it's really an interesting dynamic when we're going out and then we're going off topic and like that happens. So like your partner or significant other and, just like watching it, it's not the best, I want to make everyone feel good.
Yeah, I did not see this question going.
Yeah, no, we went from that to drinking to clubs to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
We hitting all these.
You about the wrong group. What was the question?
We segued. I think it was about Maddie.
About Maddie and talking about my partner, so you did it.
It's my fault, always. I understand that Maddie also recently helped you through a second ankle injury, I think I saw on Twitter. So what was the story there?
So we were going to the gig. I am very I rush. If it's not last minute, then I'm not going to be doing it correctly. And I was walking out of the house. Literally, there was no stairs in front of my door. And I was like unsupported shoes. And I rolled my ankle again. And it was the same exact sensation that I felt on the first. I rolled my ankle on the first episode of Drag Race, by the way. I stayed on it the entire time.
Oh, wow.
But so that twist kept, I felt it. I knew. I was like, oh man, I was like, this is exactly how I felt on the show. Oh, do you want to do the show? I'm like, yeah. So I went to the gig, adrenaline. As soon as I took the shoe off and got in the car and got back home, I tried to walk and I couldn't do it. And so Maddie was there luckily for that day and got me through, helping me, heal up and doing all my little walking and stuff for me. But yeah, it's the same ankle, so it's a little bit weaker than usual. Yeah. 2 days and it was back to normal and stuff. But yeah, I'm just careless. It's bad.
I mean, and after that first ankle injury, you did announce that you weren't returning for season 15, and you said in an interview that you'll finish transitioning, pursue acting, and you might take a break from drag. Willow, you also said something similar in our winter interview. You said you might think about phasing out of drag a little bit. So do you both still feel that way, that maybe phasing out of drag is and pursuing other endeavors is the direction that you want to go?
I think, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, I'm making a lot of money from drag right now. So stick around for a little bit. But yeah, I mean, there is kind of a desire to phase out of drag. I've done drag for a while now, and it's, you know, loads of fun. It's a great way to get out my creative energy. But, you know, I'm tired. I'm real tired. And I think I'd like to get to a place where I'm just doing it less and less until eventually I'm just gardening mushrooms.
Hello. I'll come over and help.
And selling the meat check.
No, I think I'm in the same, but I think it's just the wording of everything has just been like off. So it's like drag is gonna always be a part of my life. When I say I'm weeding away from drag, it's in the sense of bars and clubs.
Yeah. Okay.
Knowing this, I've sang opera for 18 plus years. I've acted. This is my thing. This is what I do on the normal. So I think people have to understand, like, drag is an outlet and it's a platform. People think your life stops after Drag Race. You've made it. No, it's your job to keep going. My trajectory in life is, okay, I made the money from it, what I needed to do. Now I can afford to get the surgeries I want to get in my transitions. And once I look like how I want to look like, then I can go to auditions for more film stuff. I want to be on musicals. I want to be on Broadway. Those are things that I want to do. And I think telling people that you want to take a step back from drag gets confused in their mind. It's not me saying I'm quitting drag. Cornbread's going to always be a part of me. Cornbread's going to always be probably booked before Demoria is because of the name Cornbread. However, I don't want to go travel and do bars and clubs every day. That's not where my spirit wants to be years from now. It's draining. If you spend 10 hours in a fucking airport, just go to do a gig for 2 hours to go back to an airport to go, you know, that's a lot. So when I say I'm stepping back 100%, if opportunities arise, of course I'll do it. But at the same time, surgeries and healing stuff takes time. And you need to take a step back from drag to support Demoria. If there's no Demoria, there's no drag. If there's no Demoria, there's no Cornbread. If Demoria's not happy, I'm not about to pretend to be happy for all of y'all. I'm sucking and hiding my emotions. So I need to go fix this up under all of this before I can present something to you. How you gonna be representation and lying to yourself? So take your time and do what you need to do for yourself. I'm just gonna lead over it.
I still want to do some acting. I'm writing some series right now, and I still want to do those creative things.
Yeah.
But it takes so much emotional energy, and also you give up a lot of yourself to do drag. And right now, especially with transitioning and you know, being at a weird stage in my life, I need more to give myself, and I haven't given myself a lot.
Self-care is so important in this stage, like, and it can't even be like expressed enough. Like, and we forget that because you kind of do become a servant to the people in a way, because, you know, we love our supporters, we love our fans. They are the reason we're able to do what we do. But when you get so sidetracked on taking care of them, making sure they're happy, making sure you're fulfilling what they need here and there as a whole, like for venues and all this stuff, you literally completely just start treating yourself like a dog.
Absolutely. Right. I live out childhood trauma every single meet and greet.
Yeah.
And not saying that's like a terrible thing and it is draining, but at the same time, you're meeting someone who you've inspired through your story and who you've helped. And I refuse to not help that person at that moment. However, if I'm doing 6 shows a week, that's 6 times at a minimum that I'm reliving that moment, which I'm like, you know, over or getting past. But at the same time, it's like,
it's difficult to get past when you run up.
Yeah, it's so like much. And it's like also, what's the word? It's the empath. I'm gonna snatch what you're giving. If you're feeling some kind of way about it, I feel terrible that I cannot save you. And so continue to tell me your stories, and I want to be that beacon of hope, and I would love to talk to you about it. But it's like, I'm also one of those people, like, I'm one of the, I just talk shit to these people all the time, but I will give literally anything I have to any human being. So if I can't save you at that moment, it kicks my ass. And that's you knowing Cornbread. And Cornbread has to be like this for you. But Demoria is an inside, like, crushing, because it's like, damn, I know what you've been through. I can't save you. And yeah, it's like, so it's one of those moments to where it's like, I enjoy drag 100%. Those meet and greets, are my favorite thing on the planet. I like meet and greets more than half the time perform because I get to know someone, but at the same time, I'm getting drained. And if I can't help you, then it's just making me demean. So we got to take care of our at home before we can build anybody's foundation, for sure.
And I think that's an important distinction to make, that it's not necessarily the art form, it's the sort of circuit and everything going around it. I think also part of your evolution, Miss Bread, before we move on to a different topic, Hocus Pocus 2, what can you tease?
We have Sarah Jessica Parker over here. Yes, to your right. So this is little children.
I'm in it. But it's like, everybody's like hyping it up so much. But it's like, I got no TV and I know film. So we have like 1 or 2, a good 3 lines maybe. All those lines can be chopped out. But I'm on that stage and I got the check for it, girl. That's all that matters to me. Well, as I was saying, I'm not going to just tell this scene because I don't want to screw anything up. But there's a whole moment to where we are there with all the witches, and we're like taking a little breaks or whatever. So I'm there with Ginger and Kimora Hall, and they go, it's so great that we have 2 people from Drag Race, and then like 1 local queen, because no one knew I was on Drag Race yet. No one
talking about Kimora. I'm like,
that's so fucking stupid.
It would be so bad.
Go wait in the hallway. But like no one knew, because literally 2 weeks after we were released from being in public eye, that's when I went to go film Hocus Pocus. And I just said that. I mean, there's nothing I'm gonna do about it now, but like, yeah, I wasn't supposed to be there. So they all thought I was like a local queen. And so Catherine and Jimmy goes up and she goes, well, one day I hope you're on Drag Race. I'm like, yeah, me too. She said, I know RuPaul personally. I'm the reason Bob got on the show. I'm gonna call RuPaul about you. I go, Catherine, you know what, baby? Don't do that.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
No, I appreciate your help, but like, don't do that. Like, no, you're good. I'm gonna call her. I'm like, no, girl, no, we good. I was gonna tell her like one day, and none of them knew. And then the director messaged me after the announcement. Goes, girl, you want to Drag Race the whole time? I was like, yeah, but I couldn't say anything because it wasn't announced. Yeah. But she was gonna help me, but I said, baby, you'd be screwing me over if you made that phone call. So don't do that. Yeah. But it's exciting. I'm like super thrilled. It's gonna be fun.
What a fun story.
A lot of freaking fun.
I love that. Great.
I'll show you pictures on the side.
Oh, yes. No, we definitely don't want drama with Disney, so we'll move on from that. But we do need to talk about...
scared of nobody. No, I'm kidding.
I'm scared of Disney.
Yes, we are.
We do need to talk about the best drama of the season. It wouldn't be an Emmy-worthy run without some workroom and untucked banter we love from Drag Race. And 3 of the ladies on this couch provided lots of it. Yes. Particularly Jasmine, you kept the untucked crown in New York City after Candy Muse.
Thank you.
Now, many did note that season 13 felt like a real sisterhood, and that there wasn't, after Candy and Tamisha, there wasn't a lot of drama on season 13. So did you sort of find yourself leaning more into the dramatic elements of your personality to like make good television?
Oh no, that's me full of it.
Like this on a regular.
Yeah, which is a little insane.
Lock this girl in a hotel room, that's how she is.
Very lock this girl in a hotel room.
Unhinged, honey.
I really didn't do anything. I've always said, and I said this on the show, if I have something I'm feeling some type of way, or if I just have a statement, I usually say it. 9 times out of 10, it's me thinking it and just letting it out. And sometimes that doesn't necessarily work in an environment where everyone's so stressed, and like one opinion of something can kind of just like rock your whole world or your whole day and like really get you going. So I definitely think watching it, I realized how each episode there was a way that like, I could be, digging it in a little bit more and things like that. But I wasn't like going there like, oh, I'm gonna be the drama of the season. Honestly, I went there, I'm gonna be completely honest. I went there, I was like, I'm probably not gonna win this season because like, in general, it's like, I'm the only girl representing New York City, and I'm also not like the best known New York City girl. So I was like, I'm gonna go in there and what I'm best for is my personality and my dance. That's basically what they showed. So my mouth and me dancing. So that's kind of what I went into the season with. Just to try to be as bubbly and as personable in the interviews as I could, and just be myself in the room.
Yeah. Well, you definitely entertained a lot of people.
I think it's crazy because I think me and Jasmine's dynamic was completely different than this fandom takes anything and they run with it. We have to realize this. me and Jasmine's conversations and a little heated moment was never me attacking Jasmine's drag. It was never me attacking Jasmine's person and just as a whole. I never told them. I just literally sat at the and we were sitting at that table.
All of us were on that side.
I was behind everyone. I said nothing. I was like, you know what? I said a lot these last episodes. I'm gonna let the girls have their moment. Jasmine brought me up in the situation.
I literally was
and
like,
that's why I
I'm
explained to
gonna
her.
bring it up. Yeah.
And I was like, listen. Conversations, it has to go this way. Even us on the team, she did get on my because I was like, girl, Jasmine, but I knew from the jump when Willow picked me, and I knew Jasmine, I was like, Jasmine's about to pick up. Jasmine's about to pick
Now that I will say,
and I know she did it on purpose.
I think
And that's
you're a
why
little bit of a liar.
yeah, for sure, absolutely.
Let me correct. That one I knew to make
rolled my eyes up because
Right.
absolutely, and this is one of those things where it's like, okay, listen, you know the route that it's gonna go. She gonna pick this team. She did it for a purpose. Ain't been no drama. There's moments. I deliberately rolled my eyes so motherfucking slow because I saw the camera on the side. I said, you know what, girl, we already in and now, Miss Jazz. Let's just do it. Our argument situation probably lasted all of 5 to 15 seconds. She was getting on my nerves for a little bit, and then from there it jumped to like, all right, let's work. Right. Let's do this. Let's get. And this was like no get gag. This is the damn team.
Oh my god, mine is
Sitting around
Georgia.
this house. Mine is Georgia.
Yeah.
So they all know I'm not lying. It was one of those moments where they chopped it how they need. There was no drama on Drag Race before Jasmine and I had our moment. Yeah. There was no heated situation. But also, it's TV magic. It's a thing of everyone on the season knew I was leaving for my ankle because we were already done. So like when we're filming, right, and they edit things after the show's done, there's so much of Cornbread you're gonna have to get in here because Cornbread's about to be gone. Does that make sense? So it's like we're on the show, right? We're filming. Right. Once we leave, everybody here knows I'm leaving because of my ankle. Okay. Yeah. So it's like the show put so much of me in those first episodes because I am gone. Gotcha. And Jasmine just happened to be a part of my story that was there at that moment in time. It's just the fandom takes things so completely wrong. I never told Jasmine anything about her performance. I never told her that how she wore her clothes on the runway. I never argued with her. That wasn't my battle. That was somebody else's. It was just a whole effort of that. And everybody else was saying Jasmine talked a lot too. Yeah. I'm the one that approached you because I'm not about to sit here and lie to you. I'm going to tell you to your face if you like it or not, and I want you to do the same to me. I'm going to say, listen, girl, this is what the tea is. I'm not with the fake bullshit. Let's get it done. There's a lot of big personalities. There's a lot of plus size people. There's a lot of black people who get afraid to go on Drag Race and say what they want to because they're afraid of how the fandom's going to treat me. I don't care. You're going to get what you get from me, and I know my drag and my personality is going to speak for itself. So I had to tell her, as a friend, as a sister on this show, girl, this is what you're giving. And after that, child, the whole world started seeing it.
Yeah, I think you were created in a laboratory to be on television. Yeah. I think you're an evil genius and you're actively lying right now.
Absolutely.
Jasmine does not have a singular nasty bone in her body. She is one of the nicest, kindest people on our cast, but she has a nose for drama that cannot be denied. If there was some sort of drama in the room, you could bet that Jasmine had figured out, like, okay, I'm save that for camera, your mic's not on.
I would do that.
She is the biggest producer.
She has producer
production,
for sure.
It was that.
Well, is she being herself? Absolutely. Is who she is an evil genius? Yes, that too.
Do I know when this is a good moment to put it in? Like I remember Bosco was doing something in the makeup and she kept on saying it and they're like, oh, they didn't pick it up. I said, no, say it again because it's a really good line. And she was like, Jasmine.
It was very much.
Yeah.
They talked about this. Should we talk about this on the episode? No, Jasmine, sit back. Yeah. But what if we had a conversation with Jasmine? Sit your ass back. So who do you think should have come? Jasmine, if you produce one more time, we're gonna have a problem. That wasn't even a conversation that we were having. That's Jasmine on the spot all day.
I just am asking all the questions, the really rapid questions that everyone's probably thinking.
The ones we didn't want to answer because the producers were finally leaving us alone.
I know, we were trying to go to the hotel and she's like, how do you feel about fucking up Snatch Game for the first person out of Seattle to do so? I'm like, how do you feel representing New York without a win, bitch?
I'll take it, yes. Okay, my favorite thing though, I may or may not have said this before, but Bosco after Snatch Game, because I really like seeing Yes. Because I was so God, I think I did good, right? Did I do good? Please tell me, be honest. She said, do you want me to be honest? Oh, no. I said it was bad, wasn't it? She's like, I said, well, let's hope my outfit saves it. And she was like, I hope so too, sweetie.
I would just gently remind him, I think all of us should know our words after that one. Yeah. I think we should all have a good grasp of what these lyrics are.
And then Deja did it. Oh, wait. Never mind, that was fine.
Yeah,
It was
because that.
mood. It was
All
taken
of
out,
these
but-
secret whisperings with Bosco behind the scenes that I have never heard.
Also,
I am also a shit.
She also like I'm the one in the front. She's the one at the
Right.
I told Bosco first episode when we walked in the room together, I said, "Oh, you're gonna be trouble, huh?" She was listening to little snarky stuff I was saying, and then she said one too. If you watch the first episode, and people walking in, we're looking at each other, saying the shadiest.
Oh yeah,
And we were
half
cracking
of
the
it
fuck up. We were terrible people, 100%. And this one's evil.
What I want to know is why nobody tried to start with Willow and Carrie. Did you all just know better to not do that? Because
one
we didn't
really-
see anything with them.
I told Willow she had comfy couture when she walked in. What do you mean? This is the first person I bothered when they walked into the room. And I talk shit to this one on the regular. Oh, that corner we had over there, girl, Carrie always got it. But it's
I
just,
was always getting it.
it's specific energies though. Certain people give that they're so damn neutral to it that it's like it's not a thing that's gonna happen. And
And
also,
they weren't in my way for anything, so I didn't have to.
and I think half the set knew if you fuck with Willow, I'd beat your. So it was like we were good.
And it was very, I think it was very that. Also, Willow there was very in her own, avenue and sense of like, I'm focusing about myself. Like 9 times out of 10, like when we would be working on group things or things like that, she would probably be alone in her workroom, like focusing on what's happening. So I definitely noticed that. And also Carrie, everyone came to her for the advice this season or things like that. And she also was like, the mother of the cast in the sense where everyone
I
came to
added
for
sparkle
advice.
to everything.
Yeah, she just came in and just did a little bit.
I was like, we could do a little hair here, we could do this, we could do that. So they couldn't really pick
Carrie,
me
you
apart
sitting in
because I
your
put them
corner stressing
together.
over your own hair. the whole
I
time.
also
Carrie was sitting in the corner stressing about her own hair on the table. I need to straighten my hair.
I need to straighten the hair.
It's gonna
But
take
before
me-
we were on the runway, I was always like, oh yeah,
Let me see what
yeah,
Carrie
you're
do.
good.
They be like, all right, y'all got an hour and a half. Carrie goes, it's gonna take me an hour and 28 minutes to straighten my hair. I'm gonna do my face in this time. Mind you, she be like,
did,
blah, blah, blah,
though.
blah, and be done. She always did it.
She's always,
Carrie be
like,
stressing
you or
herself
her.
out in the room, right? So everybody else get the sweet advice, and then she come to Corbett, I can do this. It's gonna stress me out. So everybody else got the sweet side. Me, I had to deal with the crazy, and it's like, Carrie, you already done straightening your hair in 5 minutes, and she's like, okay, I am done. Okay. I'm like, this gonna drive me nuts. But it's like that's what friends do. It's like, y'all, it's a moment. They
I
knew
needed
better
that
time.
fire under my
All that ass.
Now, Bosco, we have to talk about you and Lady Camden.
Oh,
you
for sure.
won an MTV Movie and TV Award for your fight over the role of
It was
Saltine.
rigged. Thanks for noticing.
Was that moment sort of all of the pressure of that in the competition up to that point building to this moment? Because we hadn't really seen you engage with anybody else in that way prior to that.
Oh, well, nobody had really, kind of stood in my way for, what I wanted to do. And, I'm usually a very, tolerant person. I'm usually, more than happy to, give somebody something. But, we were in the context of a competition. We both wanted the part. And, Jasmine had just checked out. So the mantle was there for who was going to start the next fight.
Right, that
So
part.
I, Jasmine, hold my beer. And we just, really, really went for it. Yeah, I don't know. I never felt the need to get nasty with anybody. And I don't feel like I got nasty with Camden. But I felt like, oh no, we're on television. Let's make this a moment that's on television. And so we did.
I see why they wanted it though, watching it back. Because the fights that y'all were up against were very much throw a drink, flip a table. The fight that Camden and Bosco had now rewatching it was so intricate. And it was
subtle
such like a
shades.
subtle,
reading.
it was intense in the room. So if you watch it
Our
back,
mouth
it was
was
stressful as but
It's
the fights that were read,
Those two are actually
it was
smart.
like-
Just picking up tables and throwing
MTV Awards, all the fights at MTV Awards that y'all were up against were like, I want to throw a drink in your face, and I'm going to flip this table, and it was never that. It was such a subtle, shady,
it
sharp
was
fight. So
it was like the Olympics of passive aggression. You
Yeah,
have
that's
Seattle
it.
in one corner, and then you have the UK in the other.
Yep.
Those are two places where their main love language is passive aggression.
Yeah.
So we were really just going for it.
the story behind it was phenomenal. So I think that's what pushed it above. Because I was like, wait, she won this one, they won this one. We thought this was the fight Demon was going to be in it, but
I think they do. I just don't think they do anything in Untucked. I think that's why.
it's because y'all fight would look exactly the same. As the girls for a
I mean,
drink
regardless,
show.
we look the exact same, just minus the
Yeah.
brows.
No, you versus Maddie is my favorite of all
One of my
time.
That was
favorites,
my
absolutely.
favorite.
Yeah, that was so good.
My God.
That
I was
and the
cry
entire
laughing
season.
during
That's
that.
a pretty good one to watch.
This season also proved, I think, that great TV is great TV. Even if only one queen carries Snatch Game on her back. In hindsight, did it feel like it was okay in the room until you maybe got a particular reaction or maybe a moment with Rue that clued you into how it was actually going? Or did the vibe feel off
Shit was just
from the
awkward.
start?
I think it was just bad, but I think there could have been a top and a bottom. But there was
Yeah.
a comment Rue said she was standing in the back right when we were doing questions. And she said, can we hurry this up? This is killing me. And I thought she was like in pain or she was like that. No, it was killing her because we were doing that bad on the show. And she's like, God, this is killing me. I was like, I'm so sorry, Mama Rua. I'm so sorry. But I thought we're killing it. She's laughing. It's cool. I was
When
like,
was she laughing?
well, I was paying attention. Girl, remember, it's delusion. I live in a state of delusion. I thought she was great. Then we get to the judges' table. She was like, y'all sucked. And I was just like, oh, that's what she meant.
Yeah, I don't think it's any secret that Rue was not impressed. So, like, yeah.
She said that.
Oh, bitch, I would have left. I would have went straight to the workroom, girl. I would have said, all right, I'm going to wear this dirty lips thing. I would have had to leave.
Yeah.
Carry that.
I would have had to, oh my God. Oh, itchy.
Well, that was the moment that you were saying before when Bosco was like, oh, yeah, no. Like,
No, we should all know our words.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should know our words. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Carrie and Cornbread, how did you both feel watching that for the first time at home?
I haven't seen the episode.
Yeah, watch it.
I refuse to watch it. I have bad secondhand embarrassment. Like, I'm not even joking. I have not seen the episode. I swear to God. I've seen everything except for the episode of Snatch Game because I know how they felt about it. So I'm just like, I don't want to watch. Like, I know them. I don't want to watch this like unfold and like.
I watched it and I didn't think it was just like absolutely horrible, but I think what I was like, in my head watching, I was like, why are these girls not interacting off each other? It seemed like they were very much like, what was the question? Okay,
Very well.
here's my character's answer,
Very that.
and I was like, okay, you know, like you answered the question, but like, why is no? It seemed like everyone was in like, you know how the judges panel has them cubicles.
Yeah.
It seemed like they were all in mental cubicles.
Mental testicles.
Very mental testicles, honey. And they were just like locked in on like, I'm here, and then that was my question, and that's it. And I was like, y'all didn't really play with each other and go in. Like, I feel like Snatch Games normally, like, they go on tangents because all the girls just start doing a whole thing in their character off of each other and look over there and all that shit. So it's like, I was like, okay.
I think the biggest tangent or like that was like Deja getting up and saying yeah and like pointing at the judges. Like nothing really was like intermingled at all. Maybe you and Daya because she.
I was gonna say Daya and you just kept repeating each other's answers.
Should not be copying me, girlfriend. I don't know. It was just moldy vibes all around. It wasn't fun to do. It wasn't fun to watch. It wasn't fun to be a part of. I do think it also just like perspective of like what had happened previously in the season also did not help us out because we had like killed like 3 challenges in a row at that point. Like we'd had like a challenge where like literally everyone did incredible. So like to have a kind of a stinker, which could have been like a mid to low Snatch Game, just like didn't read. It's just like, well, we really were excited for this cast to do something with this because this is like one of the most famous challenges of the franchise. And then for a cast that had done well on a lot of different things to kind of tank, I think really just soured it as well.
I just want to speak justice to Kombucha. That was
I think that
funny.
joke is really funny.
funny.
And then I didn't get any laughs for that. I'm like, well, I'm going to hell. I'll see all of you there with me.
I did try to interact with her though, but I was so scared. I was like, oh, I'll take in my Betsy DeVos voice.
Do it again.
Oh, I'll take a full gallon, and thinking it would be like this greatest thing in the world. And no, Mama, it was a job. I thought that was interaction. So yeah.
Were there some like things that you planned to do for Snatch Game that you did, like jokes that you wanted to tell, but like in the moment you could feel that it was kind of not going well, that you just decided to not do?
I had a full written like packet.
What can you tease what some of the things were?
Oh, literally, I had full written jokes about like Betsy in terms of like shaking the hands of corporations to like take them down for their money or like really like
political call-outs just go really well for Snatch Game. We're really missing out on that.
I really went for like a lot of things that like people would know if they did like a deep dive on her. Just was way too much. It was just like way too in depth. But they were like,
You were gonna do Leslie Jordan, right?
Yeah.
Can we get some Leslie Jordan?
I'm my Leslie Jordan, sure. Now I have my very much deep voice on. Hello, my hunker downers. How are you? What are you doing? Screwing? That's what I'm trying to do. I have a little white wig and everything.
Screwing?
Yeah.
Do you think it would have been better than Trinity's?
Absolutely. Yeah, what do you mean?
This is really good.
Yeah, mine would have been better. Yeah, for sure.
Carrie, you were gonna do Mariah Carey?
I was. I thought that I was gonna do well, but like now looking back in hindsight, I think that I think they set that whole thing up not to do well, and for me, I was just gonna act like I was at a meet and greet.
She was just giving it would have been this. They were like, Carrie, we got Snatch Game. I know, I'm Mariah. And they were like, no, this is you on regular. She would have gave that for sure.
I mean, I do act a lot like Mariah. She is one of my influences. Darling.
Willow, I saw you laughing when Carrie was speaking.
She thinks everything I do is terrible, honey. Willow thinks everything. I breathe and it's terrible. She's like, that was the worst breath I've ever.
Every time Willow's laughing at you doing something nice, so it's her saying, "Wow, you're fucking horrible."
You know you're gonna come wrong. Yeah, for sure. She's literally calling you an idiot in her head. I swear to God.
Oh, completely.
No, Snatch Game did bring us a big Drag Race twist. I mean, the lip sync SmackDown as punishment for Snatch Game. Jasmine and Bosco, what was the vibe like behind the scenes of those lip syncs before you went up against each other? Because Bosco, you looked really, really shook throughout this episode.
I was, whatever the opposite of vibing was, that's where I was currently located. No, it was like, once again, a day of rancid vibes. Like everybody backstage was going through it. Like if you did first round, you're like, this is fun, great. And then you lose the first round, and you're like, oh, this is getting a lot less fun.
Yeah.
And then you lose the second one. Like I remember like Angie being in the back, just like having like a full-on panic attack before coming on for her second round. And by the time we'd gotten to round 3, that's a lot of pretending to sing and mouthing words at people. So I was a little bit spent. I'm like, what sort of hooker tricks do I still have in the vault? Luckily, still had a few. But I'm almost glad that we got that song, because that was my favorite song out of the options, and I thought that we both really, really turned it. It could have gone either way.
I think for me, because, you know, up to that time, I was already in the bottom, I would say, 3 times. And going into that episode, I was like, I have to kill it in the first, like, whatever they were doing, I have to kill it my first one. If not, I'm probably going home. And when I lost to Daya, I was like, fitting. But also, I was like, okay, this is how my story, like, this is where my story ends, but I'm not gonna go out, like, angry or mad. I'm gonna go in, give my best foot effort, or best foot forward. And I was saying with my second lip sync, I think I turned it out, I'm just saying. And, you know, whatever the decision was, But at that point on the third one, I was content. And you guys can see me crying there, like, at the end, because, like, at that moment, I was setting this fact that, like, I probably will not make it. But I just want to, like, reserve my dignity at least when walking off the stage and, like, not show that, like, I didn't win a single challenge. I didn't, you know, lip sync 6 times, and I just showed on the show to do what? At that moment, I was devastated. But after lip syncing against her, it was like, immediately when they said Bosco's name, I was relieved. I was like, thank the Lord. Because I literally went through such a roller coaster on that season that, like, I got to go home doing something I was happy and I loved to do. And I knew that what my last performance was something different, and it was something, you know, I was proud of. So I think my biggest stress that day was my feet hurting. That's about it. But I definitely, like, was getting in that mental, like, preparedness to be like, this is gonna be it, but you better exit really pretty and really, you know, strong. So
You did.
So because I know it had to have been so stressful, obviously, as you're saying, for those that participated. I mean, do you go into something like that with a plan? Like, because Willow, I think a lot of people we hadn't seen you perform like that yet, and I think a lot of people were really surprised. So do you go into that with a goal of, okay, I know the song, I know what the song sounds like, this is how I'm gonna move, or do you perform better when you just sort of, were you winging it in the moment?
Oh, wing for me, fully.
Yeah, I just wing it. I was just hoping that I would get the something that I wanted, but no matter what, there was no plan to be had. It was just chaos.
It was also like full chaos, because like it's one thing if you know that you're like, oh, I'm probably gonna be the bottom tomorrow. This is the one song that I have to prepare for. We had to make sure that we had 7 songs on lock,
that's a lot.
and you didn't know which of the 7 that you were going to get. So it was just a full like crapshoot of like, I hope the songs that I end up with fit the vibe that I perform, because everybody performed very differently in that tournament. And everybody has very different styles, and certain songs are going to help out certain people. So it was a very, very chaotic, intense day.
If I was being strategic, I wouldn't have picked Dahlia as my first person. I would have probably picked Georgia's, because me and her at that time were at the same level field in terms of our eliminations and tops and bottoms. when they gave me the option, I was very angry from the beginning in the morning. So I was like, no, I'm getting her.
You chose television.
I chose television over strategy.
Evil
Not
genius. Made in a lab to be on television.
Because like my favorite thing was RuPaul was like, Jasmine, you get to pick. My mouth open. She goes, wait. This is reality television. Give it a moment. Sing. Let the head, because she knew I was done. She knew I was ready. The second my name pulled out, I was like, "Dah!" And she was like, stop.
Think about this.
Think about it. Really think about it. And I was like, nope, Daya.
You still did.
I still did it. Yeah. She probably
It was
was
the
like,
right
"Girl."
choice.
Oh yeah. And me and her, I will still say this. Daya beat me in that lip sync regardless. Like, I don't care what people say. She definitely had a little bit more of a vibe of that, and I was just trying to like just destroy her with the song.
Yeah.
So I wasn't really focusing on the song. I was focusing on our situation in the show. Yeah. For sure.
But you think you should have chosen George's.
Yes, because
Okay.
statistically speaking, me and her were the lowest at the time. And
Yeah.
let's say I beat her. She picked radio. I would have done fine at radio still. So it would have been, a more likely chance of me when Daya's only been eliminated once and safe the whole time.
Right.
So,
I would have, if I was a producer, I would have made it where y'all would have been lip syncing each other in the first place. So it would have been right there at the end. It would have been a very juicy TV moment.
Oh,
To
the
have
last one
last
would have
lip sync
been a
to be you and
moment.
Daya. That
Oh,
would have been
yeah.
a sickening situation.
I mean,
That's
it sounds
smart.
like Drag Race turns the cast into producers. I mean, that's just what
I mean,
this is
we
what
like
it
to do it.
sounds-
I mean, if we
sounds
get
like.
if it's handed to us, we like to do it.
We're just control freaks.
We've all been watching the show for the past 15 years.
Yeah.
Like, you kind of
this is
know
what I
what
would
to
like
do
to
to create
see.
some TV.
Absolutely.
No, I think the thing that took everyone by surprise was there were no props or gags in the lip sync competition. So did you all sort of agree to not do that in a way to sort of even the playing field?
They told us the night before that you have to learn 8 songs.
Yeah.
They're like,
No time
give
for a
me
gag.
one prop that would have worked for any of those 8 songs.
Yeah.
There was no xylophone solo in radio that we could pull out.
Yeah.
Also, too, I mean, I'll say out of code, we were filmed a runway for it, so I'm assuming they wanted one specific look for it, and not to be like, it's a reveal or things like
Yeah.
that. It was
Right.
just kind of like, what would you wear to lip sync? Go down the runway.
We all had
That's
nothing left at that point too.
Yeah.
That was near the end, and we each had like 3 outfits.
It just
left.
made it, yeah, no gimmicks. It's just go and make it a battle, yeah.
And I think there's been so many gimmicks on the show at this point that we were like, they're not gonna like a cute little hair reveal.
Yeah,
No.
that makes sense.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about a hair reveal that day.
Yeah.
Like, there's no time to think
Yeah.
about
There's no
that.
time.
It was just
No,
go.
we'd done Snatch
We
Game
learned
the
those
night
songs
before.
at 2 a.m.
That was just that quickly after.
Yeah,
It was
yeah,
literally
we like
yeah,
that.
mama.
we
They
failed
said-
Snatch Game, and they're like, okay, you're coming back tomorrow, and you better have these 8 songs learned.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pace is
Quick.
devastating.
I mean,
It's very fast.
And Bosco stayed in her shoes the whole day for the lip sync.
that's I remember you telling me
I
that.
can't. I
yes.
keep on bringing that up because the amount of stress my body was during in that day. I had to take my shoes off every time I was off that stage, regardless, walking barefoot. This girl, the whole time, lunch, bathrooms, whatever it was, Eddie Hill the whole day. Well, because you were a stronger woman than I was that day.
No, I just like had to keep it on, otherwise everything would just fall apart.
You fall apart.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
that
say,
was
is there a
hurt.
reason that you
Just probably like to stay in it, right? To
Yeah.
keep the heels on day, just to like be in the zone.
I legitimately have that entire day blacked out. Don't
Actually,
remember it all.
She was
Wasted
literally-
from her memory.
She was in a tunnel the whole time. I remember our last lip sync. We were like, they were like camera changing, and me and her were in the back, and they were like separated us. This girl was like tunnel vision, looking down, like practicing the whole time, and I was there just like, I'm gonna go home, so I'm
Here
just
we
gonna stay here.
are.
Cool. I was like trying to sign her. I was like, I'd give her like my vape if she wanted it because I knew like we're the only Nick girls of the season, me more than her. But I was like, yes. And it's like all you could do.
Not the Nick girls.
Now, we did also have what was another crazy moment. I mean, the chocolate bar twist shortly after that saved you, Bosco, from elimination. I also heard that a lot of the queens had trouble unwrapping their bars.
Oh,
So
that was
Carrie
my
and
favorite
Jasmine,
part.
how long did each of you spend trying to
Bit my
unwrap
nail
the
off to
bars?
do it because I saw how everyone else saw it. I said, I'm not doing that. I had to pop.
Bit your
And
nail?
Michelle laughed. She was like, ah! I was like, keep it in, but they didn't. They literally bit it off, spit it, and started peeling it. Because I was like, I don't care, I'm going home. Let me just.
Most of our nails are removable, Joey. we can pop them off pretty quickly.
Now they're acrylics. It's hard. But before that, before Dollage, they were
Not dollars.
Pre-dollage,
graduate.
post-dollage, honey. I was just over it at that point. So I was like, I literally was like, rip, chocolate, bye. Like I was just like, you could see it in my face on the reruns. I was like,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it did look like a difficult episode for you, for sure.
I was just like, this is at the moment, my head was like, this is a joke. And I was like, bye, haha.
I also didn't do great in that lip sync, also, mind you. Like, let's, like, full transparency. Half of my falling off, things like that, too. And my track record at the time, also, like, I think
Ours
I was
was
in
about the
bottom one,
same.
About the same. Maybe I was in the bottom one more than her. Oh, no, we were same at that time. But, yeah. It was an interesting way how they answered it. Because it really could have gone to her, and she would have had her season, things like that. It's just a weird way how they pick when they want to, you know, have the gigs.
It is what it is.
Well, I do think that it is important, I mean, that you speak about the sort of, you know, because it's not just, okay, well, you're lip syncing and it's black and white and it just happens very quickly. I mean, there's all of these different things that go into a lip sync. It's not just two people meet up, dance on the stage, that's it. There's all this other stuff that is coming into it. So I always think it's important to speak about that. I mean, the roast was a really fun moment as well. And we had Deja, a woman of her word. She said she was going to laugh at every unfunny joke. And she sure
And
did.
then she told enough of her own. So.
I was going to say, she couldn't laugh and be telling jokes at the same time, so it'd be hard.
She tried.
She did try.
I do want to know about the vibe in the room. Like, she really was just like, even if there was like dead silence, she was laughing.
Oh, Deja is just
Yeah,
like
she's
bottled
always-
sunshine. She is just like one of the nicest, just most bubbliest people. And like if she says she's gonna do something, she's gonna do it.
Gonna do it.
And she's also very like just there to support everybody. She doesn't have a single mean bone in her body. And she also has a dad sense of humor, so like making
Very
her
nice.
laugh is not really hard. So I'm sure she was actually finding a lot of these jokes really funny.
So it wasn't fake, some of it was
Some
actually.
of it was real.
No, it was real.
Did anybody return the favor for her?
No.
Very quick to say that, Willow. Very quick.
Well, none of us agreed to do that. We're like, that's a
That
really
was
nice
her
thing
thing.
for you to
Really
do.
nice thing, Seth.
However-
sweet of you.
But her last joke was actually one of my favorites of the night.
Oh, it was
This
great.
next guest needs no introduction.
And then just watch
Walk
that.
off.
That got
Good.
laughs.
That was really good.
Yeah.
That was delightful.
Now, there was a lot of sisterhood this season, so it was surprising, I think, that there was no makeover challenge.
so
It was the first time in many regular seasons that there hasn't been a makeover. So for each of you, who would you all wanted to make over among the cast, and what would you have done?
From the beginning, I wanted cornbread. I was
Yeah.
always like, I want cornbread to do the makeover because, you know, I could paint you patch down.
Yeah.
Up to swoop do all the gigs.
I had my entire family resembled this whole thing planned out, and I think I showed you my little Ouija board thing that was the flip heart. Didn't I show that to you in your station? So my thing was gonna be a whole storyline, but it's funny that you did to help me on the house. It was gonna be one person, very pink, very pretty, and smiling. There was gonna be this whole demonic looking like demon one in the same like black kind of like pajama get up, and then turn around and the person with the like the demon-esque looking one was gonna have help me on the back because the person in pink was the one that was like stressing everyone out. But I got the same costume made in 4 different sizes. Because I was like, girl, I don't know how to spell. That wasn't my thing. I was like, I could do very minimum. So I was like, okay, I'll get something that's adjustable for this body type. So I got it in 4 different sizes just to smack it on somebody.
Wow.
For sure.
That's
Yeah.
intense preparation.
Yeah.
I would
Yeah.
want to put Angie in drag just because I think she would look sickening with my eyebrows. And then I'd want Carrie to paint me because I want to see what the softening looks like.
That would have been fun. I honestly, that was the challenge I was looking the most forward to because I love makeup. I was a makeup artist before I did drag, so I was looking forward to like all the girls because I love seeing my face on people. I was totally ready for cornbread. I was also ready for Angie. I was just whoever. I was like, let me just turn you into like the ultimate like fantasy trans
I would
tranny.
pick June.
I
Because
wanna
June's
dye
face
it
looks like mine.
You don't have to put makeup on June. Sure.
Put shit on June.
Ready.
Yeah,
You
that
and
was-
June
yeah.
would have
It
legitimately
was
looked
so
like
easy.
sisters.
I would have chose June because I could just like, okay, I'm gonna just do my face on you now.
And then she'll do her face under everything's out there.
Let's put foundation and lip gloss on, girl.
Willow, who would you have done?
I really wanted to get Carrie because I had these two, like 1950s garden party outfits. And
That would have been fun. I
and
would have looked so
they-
different.
One had like the eyes like popping out like Jim Carrey style, and one had like a huge long like disgusting tongue, and they had like bugs all over them.
Would I have gotten the bugs all the time?
Yeah. Yeah, girl, you already know.
I wish Angeria would have got Carrie. That would have made me happy too. I would have loved to see Carrie in this
Carrie
big
patch.
triple stack synthetic high heaven wig and just oh my god, it would have been so much fun if Angeria would have got to. That would have been great too.
I would have been down. I would have been
Either
a full
Disgusting by
queen.
Willow or Pageant by Angeria would have been great. I would have enjoyed that. It would have been good.
They just must not like makeup either because we didn't do that or the tutorials.
I am interested though to hear who of of the queens who are not here you would have liked to have seen make over someone else?
I just like these girls.
Just these ones, these the ones.
Pretty much.
I would have wanted to see Daya, what she would.
Oh,
Daya's
down. Daya's
talked
making
mugger.
crazy.
Like she mugs down. So I would have wanted to honestly see you and Daya.
I think that would have been a pretty easy
That would've
one.
been
That's
really
Daya
really
Georges.
well.
That would have been a good combination.
That would have
I
been
would have
so
loved
good.
that. Yeah.
They
They like
would-
opposition around here.
They would have done like American Horror Story freak show, like super tall, super tiny. Like just pick Georges up and walk down the set.
Oh my god, that would have been freaking hilarious.
I did Alyssa. I would have chosen Alyssa any day for sure.
Oh yeah.
Probably couldn't fit anything in her closet, but I definitely chose Alyssa because Alyssa looks really good too.
She also got
and very
beat down.
conceptual. I mean, she looks like she has 16 personalities, but like she definitely would have been great.
You just want more time with Alyssa. I think that's the.
Oh no,
excuse
no, I'm
there.
good. I want her. No, we was just desperate while we were there.
I'll take her.
There you go,
I'm
Carrie will
very
help.
open about it.
Well, this all brought us to an incredible finale. I think it was the first finale back in a theater since
Yep.
2019. Bosco and Willow both did so well on this finale. I seriously was so impressed with both of you. Willow, of course, becoming our crowned queen.
Yeah.
Cornbread getting Miss Congeniality.
Yeah.
Cornbread, you looked genuinely shocked when they announced you as the winner of Miss Congeniality. So why was that a moment that was so touching and surprising to you?
It was just the drama of my. It's TV. What do you mean? No. I've had conversations with many people about things in life. You know, they know me. It was one of those things where it's like it was a genuine conversation of I knew where some things were going, but also at the same time it was like, did this actually really like happen in the sense of I am genuinely a nice person and I'm very giving outside of the camera. I don't do a lot of stuff off of the camera that I don't want to, you know, but this is for the camera, let's display it. But there's also parts of me that are just like, okay, I'm doing this for a specific reason. And the little demon on my shoulder, and then the angel goes, okay, I also got this for a specific reason. So there's like two sides of it. The shockness came definitely from like, okay, did I get this because of this or did I get this because of this? But they voted, you know, the people voted. And a lot of people out there were like, oh my God, why did Cornbread get it? Bitch, you were not there. You didn't have to deal with the shit that we had to deal with. You didn't have to hear the stories that we heard or the conversation that we had. So yeah, it was great. I was excited for it. Super thrilled. I kind of knew that I wanted though, but based on the position of where I was at.
And the camera lighting because you were right there.
I was literally looking around. I'm like, okay, well, this person might get it, but they're like behind 3 people, and these people are behind you. I was like, it's Drag Race. They made this the easiest route possible.
Well, yeah,
What's easier? Cornbread going from right here to here. I was like, oh my God, I got it. And then I'm blind as so like the teleprompter's there, and you pop it. I'm like looking. I'm like, that looks like my name. And I was like, that's why I was shocked because I could finally see the teleprompter. So yeah, it was a lot of elements to it.
Yeah,
For
it's
sure.
a very nice moment. Does anybody have any interesting behind-the-scenes story about how your reunion or finale looks or performances came together?
My Beauty and the Beast, my prosthetics person, had to get like 3 COVID tests just in case, because right like 2 weeks before going, someone that they were around had, so they had to wait the whole quarantine moment.
Yeah.
Luckily, they did not have COVID. They just had to wait for tests and stuff. So she literally drove there the day of or the night before. I had like a completely different situation I was gonna have, but I took it just in case because I thought she wasn't gonna make it. So I was like really scared. I was telling her, I was like, yeah, I don't think my prosthetics person gonna make it, so I'm not gonna be able to do my look. And they finally came, so that was my scare for sure of it because I had a vision.
My angel costume that I wore for the reveal did not come until that morning. And then I did one rehearsal with the wings, and the wings were originally attached to my costume, and then they broke off. So when we went to do the live taping, we're in back and we're trying to set the dancers, and we're supposed to get like the wings to attach to me, and like they just broke off like 4 times, and eventually I'm just like, well, let's figure something out. So what we're seeing on television is like I had all the dancers hold everything, and we just improv'd how that reveal went. So we
really
got to
got
just
those guys.
go for it. Yeah, so that was the first time I had done that number was on live television. Yeah,
Wow.
but it worked fine.
My final lip sync and my final performance outfit were originally switched, and when they gave me the "I Hate People" song, and we like developed that song together, I was like, oh, I think we've got to make this change. And then the crotch reveal was we were about to leave Utica's house because she had done the whole outfit, and we had one face left that wasn't even painted. That she was like, oh, do you want this? Like, this is like an extra that's kind of cracked. And my assistant like held it up to my crotch and was like, like just joking around, and I was like,
Actually.
and we had it painted that night, like before we left in the morning.
Smart.
Like, we've got to make this happen.
You better have paid Chris so much.
I know. I know.
My finale hair got shipped.
Oh,
The day of
really?
my
Your
reunion.
switches, yeah.
Oh my god, I was so pissed because I had to switch. Actually, I switched my looks around.
Yep.
I was supposed to wear the green look for reunion, and that peach little one was supposed to be finale. But because my hair didn't get in time, my boyfriend had to literally. My flight was leaving to Vegas. It got there that day, so my boyfriend had to fly it the next day over.
Wow.
But literally, I had to switch my whole looks around because of it. But I'm actually 9 times happier that happened because I got to yell in that dress. And I had a lot of good stuff in that dress. So
I ended up driving from LA with like 16 billion people's stuff in my trunk.
Yeah, you brought
'Cause
that up,
originally,
right?
everybody stopped. Originally, I was
yeah,
gonna
she's
fly.
the delivery. Everyone
And I was
like
like, you know
that.
what? I was like, I'm just going to drive there. And I was like, if anybody needs anything, I'll take it. Can you go pick this up and get this and get this? I was like, so I literally had half the fucking
brought half
reunion
of
finale.
Santee Alley, yeah.
If my fucking
Half of
car.
Santee
I could have ruined everybody's day and just stayed home because I wasn't gonna go to the anyway. But I was gonna ruin everybody's day. But I was like, no, I'll just go and be nice to them. But yeah, I was definitely planning on staying home.
I do want to, Carrie, ask you about yours as well, but before I forget, Willow, you said that you were switching. I mean, because I'm not sure how much you know about what the songs are going to be in advance, but like, was there a reason that you wanted to do one before the other sequentially?
So the 3-headed look, I thought that would just be like a great outfit to get crowned in.
Yeah.
And I was like, this will just be epic. And the other look, because the song was like, that's why it has like a D-Light kind of. That's why it's like I'm oddly doing like a D-Light sounding song in like an old Victorian woman monsters
Makes sense.
outfit, is because that was gonna be for the finale, and the
Okay.
D-Light was gonna be like the big like suit with the pants. But the vibe of the I Hate People song was just so wild and out there, and it worked with the heads.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'll just switch these, and then they give me a man in a men's suit was.
So genius. Yeah.
Cornbread was
perfect.
screaming.
Oh, I was so ghetto on that
She
side.
stood up. She
Real
said,
good.
"Nope, we're getting up for this. Let's
Yeah.
go."
That was a really
It's like Willow. I hate people, but surrounded by 4 of them. I'm like, yeah, this is very Willow, girl. I hate everyone but myself. That's all.
Now, Carrie, your looks. I mean, just everything, just incredible. How did your looks come together?
I mean, I was wanting to do something very like heavy metal and reflective, and I had this like running theme where I was like, I didn't get the golden bar, so I wanted to be gold for the everything that had to do with Drag Race, just to be like, So when I was like thinking about looks and I was going through Twitter, the people kept going on about the whole Tranos thing. They're like, Tranos, Thanos. And I was like, you know what? This is a really good idea. So I got with my designer and I sent them some Mugler references, but I was like, don't copy it, but like hurt me because it's gonna be metal. I was like, I don't want plastic. I don't want it to look metal. I want it to actually like be metal and like feel it. And it was just so amazing. I felt so cool. I always joke and say that was the first time I was in drag because I was in like a synthetic all.
That part.
I was like, I'm actually in drag
She
today.
texted me that I'm in drag. I'm doing like a big hair and I'm like doing like a campy costume. I'm like, good for you, Carrie. I like it. Then she showed up looking like a
Body.
steel.
Okay,
Yeah,
body.
it
Can't
worked.
be body.
And then for the little walk down, I guess like the only blimp was like I had a whole reveal. There was like a cape that like shrouded me, and then like I like split it open and then like dropped it, but they didn't have the time length for it, so they're like, we're just gonna have you walking. And I was like, okay, cool.
Maybe for Instagram later.
Right? I wish I would have gotten that little B-roll because I was like, it seemed like it looked good. I didn't really get to see it back, but
You did shoot it.
well, when they did the runway of me walking down,
Yeah.
Okay.
I walked out and like had like this whole cape
Into the
shrouded,
reveal.
and then like did like a whole pow and turn.
Got it.
But I never got to see that. But it felt fun to do.
No, it looked good.
Yeah.
It looked
It
good too
felt
when you
fun.
turned around.
The rose was my face reveal. I had the rose in front
Oh,
of
yeah?
my face.
Yeah.
It was like one of these slow like pull downs, but it's like, girl, we got to get you down there. So I think that's what they changed. It's basically the same thing as you. It's just a, time. And it's TV.
Yeah.
You got to get shit done.
Right.
For sure.
gotta-
Sorry, I thought you were saying that you didn't even film it at all.
No. It was there. It was filmed. It just didn't make it.
Yeah. So I think we'll end this with, I want to ask each of you, what do you all hope that season 14's legacy will be in the context of Drag Race, and how do you want people to remember this season?
I think they've done it. I think they've gotten what I think. Obviously, certain people want things to go a specific way, but I do think leaving this show, they've gotten a real sense of what each one of us is, in a sense, as a person. At the same time, it goes back to the word of authenticity. The difference between season 14 and a lot of other seasons, I'm not one of those people that go, this is better than this one. That's not my thing. What we did differently on our season, or what the energy we brought from our season, was it was the most unhinged energy of, we are doing what the hell we want to do. Yeah. And that's the difference. Usually things are like, okay, it's going to go this way, this way, this way. This group of people, all 14 of the people that were there, were not afraid to say no in the sense of giving what we wanted to. Not in a disrespectful way to anybody. It was more so, that's not cornbread. This is what you're going to get. And if I give this to you and you don't like it, give me your critiques on it. I'll listen to what you're saying, because this is your competition, and I'll shape myself for your competition, but I am not changing who I am as my drag. My drag is not here to shape to be what you want me to be. Make me a better version of myself. Push me forward with what I am doing and tell me how I can be better in that aspect, and not necessarily I'm going to shape myself to what drag artists is supposed to look like. This cast is full of rebellious people, and the best rebellious way. People put rebellious in a negative connotation, and that's not what we are. I feel like rebelling is a phenomenal thing, because rebelling means you're just basically standing up to what you want and not the norm. And no one on season 14 stood in their own way. You're gonna get the fuck you get from us, and if you don't like it, girl, put us in the bottom, or we all just run Snatch Game and we have to lip sync against each other.
I think that we will never see another, like, the show will never be the same again. I think that instead of looking for trends and taglines, I think that we've pretty much showcased at this point, like, many forms of drag. There's obviously more, and I think that now that we kind of broke that mold of, like, oh, trans and trend, I always say those are both two T words, but they're very different. Trans is not a trend, but trans is trendy. So we got that out the way. We did that. We let y'all know why it is. It's beautiful. It's unique. It has so many different faces. And I think that I'm so excited for us to see going into the future what, instead of trying to hype things up for a political moment or a tabloid statement, now you're just going to get to see representation at its finest, giving what it's supposed to give without the pressure of narratives that get put with it.
I think what I hope our season, if anybody's like auditioning or looking for, or like, you know, it's like what makes a good season. I think it's just, first one, align yourself, but also like having the ability to open up about things that you necessarily don't necessarily fear that people will connect to and things like that. I feel like we all have the ability to connect to someone in that room one way or another, and if you are open about that connection rather than like hiding it and just like, oh well, I can make this connection, or I could be really shady and do this one thing. Like, take TV out of it. We're here to make relationships with people and also like, you know, get to know people and more about our community. And I think we all took the time to get to know everyone this season.
Yeah, I'm hoping like a lot of like the longevity and like impact is like talent and hard work are really what's needed for a show like this to succeed. And also that like there is no separation between like, for a lot of us, transness and drag. Like trans people have always existed along drag queens and vice versa. Like there's never been a binary where like this is like somebody's lane and this is another person's lane. Like for as long as like this art form's been around, like trans women have been a part of it. And I feel like we're kind of like entering into the threshold where like the pop culture sphere understands that now too.
Yes. Amen.
Yeah. I think this season has been so much about how much we kind of watch over each other. And protect each other. We really do, like on and off screen. And we've kind of like just made this little season 14 drag union.
Yeah.
And
literally union.
Really, like we watch out for each other and make sure that we're not being taken advantage of by anyone.
In the strongest way possible, for sure.
And you know, that the world really needs that right now, honestly. Unionize.
Unionize.
I was telling you the craziest part about watching season 14 is usually Drag Race is all about drag, obviously. one of our season is so much out of drag. It's insane.
It is.
You meet so much
this
of
one of the least draggy.
Yeah, it's at least like we are in drag in the last few minutes of Drag Race, all these episodes, which is nuts. I think that's why so many people got to connect with people individually, because it's so insane how much of the percentage of each episode is just us having fun like this with each other, or having our genuine arguments, or talking to each other, and then okay, now let's go ahead and show people what that person is out of drag is now in drag, and this is so it's they I liked how they did that. That made me happy that we were good enough out of drag to where that's what you're given more than
we
just
were really
dressed
all
up.
the same people in and out.
Yeah.
There's very few drag characters.
100%.
I don't think anyone, no one was trying to put on a character. They were just trying
At
to
all.
be themselves in drag 24/7.
That's what you get, and that's what I'm saying. Unapologetic. We didn't shape ourselves. So that needs to continue.
No one besides like Angie does drag on this season.
Yeah.
Literally right now. If it's drag, you.
And Alyssa and Angie do drag.
I came in thinking I was doing drag, and then I became a woman.
I think
The tale is old as time.
Tale as old as time.
that is a beautiful way to end this. Thank you so much, Carrie, Willow, Cornbread, Bosco, Jasmine. This was wonderful. Thank you so much.
This was amazing.
Now, I'm just wondering, Willow, I think it would only be appropriate to close this the same way that you got the crown on your head, by moaning a little bit. Can you send us off with a moan?
Is everyone doing it together?
Oh, collectively.
I'm a virgin.
I'll warm it up.
That's all right.
That was a very climatic ending.
I need a
That was great. Thank you guys so much.
Okay, get out of there.
Subscribe.